Hi Charlie, welcome to the 78th day of my video polling experiment where I break down and analyze the LinkedIn poll that I posted last week and the close this morning. Now last week's question had to do with the fact that home prices and interest rates on homes have not been the most attractive in at least a couple of years. And that question was, how much does your dream home cost? There were 4 answer choices: 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, and I prefer to rent for the individuals like myself who honestly prefer to just have a set expense for my living conditions every month and not have to worry about the basement flooding because of heavy rain, the roof caving in because of some other various issue, and just having to constantly remodel your home. Anyway, this question only got 66 votes, which is well below my average of about 80 to 85 votes per poll, and I think I can kind of understand why this wasn't as popular as some of my other polls, because obviously when I was asking about my dream home, I wanted to sort of imply like which kind of home would be most appealing to you given the price, because for me at least, a $100,000 home is more appealing than a $300,000 home because the former is significantly easier to afford, to pay off, to save up for the down payment. But obviously that $300,000 home is kind of more attractive, more appealing, it has more value. And obviously if someone just gave you a home, you would probably prefer the $300,000 one. But I don't think I communicated that message very clearly in the question, hence the less than average response rate. But anyway, here is how the distribution ended up breaking down. 3% of my voters said that their dream home costs $100,000. 11% of them said their dream home costs $200,000, and to no one's surprise, 76% of my voters said that their dream home costs $300,000. 11% of my voters, as I anticipated, said that they preferred to rent rather than own their own home, at least at the moment, given the current housing and economic climate. So not really a surprise that the most appealing home is the most expensive one, but I was trying to imply that you would have to pay for that $300,000 home, not just for a couple of months so you can try to flip the home and sell it for a higher price, but to actually pay off that entire $300,000 mortgage and have it become your forever home, which I don't know if all of my voters are necessarily comfortably able to do that given their financial situations. So anyway, here are some statistics about the U.S. housing market. Most of them are not as positive as we would like to see them. In February 2025, U.S. homes sold for a median price of $425.2 thousand. 324.2 thousand homes were sold in the United States in February 2025. The national average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 6.8%, and there were 1.64 million U.S. homes for sale in February 2025. These homes have been on the market for a median of 55 days, and only 24.7% of U.S. homes sold above their list price in February of 2025. That 30-year fixed rate mortgage rate being nearly 7% is, I think, the most alarming of these statistics, but the fact that the median home price is over $400,000, which is well outside of the average American's price range, I believe, unless you have an extremely long payment term of 60 years or something. It's just kind of amazing that the home ownership seems to be affordable only to people perhaps in the top 10%, if we're being pretty generous, because I would say that I'm sure there are homes out there for about $100,000, maybe in Oklahoma or Nebraska, but that kind of home seems to be increasingly out of reach for many Americans. And with the economic climate being shaky at best right now, with all of the stock market declines last Thursday and Friday, it doesn't seem like the housing market is going to be rebounding in any significant way anytime soon. Of course, I do hope the housing market rebounds. I hope the stock market rebounds, but hopefulness doesn't necessarily move the stock market, especially when it's just one person rather than the millions of retail and institutional investors out there trying to sink their money into these securities. So anyway, Charlie, thank you for listening to my little spiel about home ownership and the state of the economy. I'm not an economist. I'm not a financial expert in any way. I'm just a finance student trying to, use the data that I have to make certain conclusions about where things are going, where things might go. None of this is financial advice. Please consult a financial professional for actual financial advice. And before I go, I would like to show you the poll as it appears on LinkedIn, just to prove that I'm not making these polls or this distribution up. This is the poll as it appears on LinkedIn. As you can see, it only got 66 votes, and the most popular choice was a $300,000 dream home, which was chosen by 76% of my voters. So anyway, Charlie, thank you for listening to my little spiel about home ownership, and stay tuned tomorrow for my 79th polling analysis. Thank you and have a wonderful day.